Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, you're live and direct with the Black Psychologist podcast. Messing up already. Welcome back to our longtime viewers and listeners. Special hello to all our first time folks. Hope you enjoy the ride. I am one half of your humble and gracious host, Dr. Kyle Osborne. He is I, and I am him. And for those of you that have been rolling with us, you all should know that I'm never here by myself. I'm here with the one and only. This guy is the personification of true grit. All right. When I first met him, he told me blood, sweat, and respect. The
Oh
first two
man.
you give, the last one you gotta earn. The incredible Dr. Jason Coleman. What's going on, good brother?
Oh man, what's going on, bro? I want happy belated Father's Day to you, man. You know what I mean?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Man, I'm good, man. I'm blessed and I'm stressed, but it is what it is.
Comes along the territory, bro.
Yeah, man, that's right, man.
How was your weekend, man? How things been with you?
It was good, man. Just grinding. We taking care of business outside of here. So, that's really, taking up majority of my time. But other than that, man, I'm just trying to enjoy a little bit of the summer, man. But, you know, chilling. What about you?
It was pretty chill. Like you said, Father's Day was this past Sunday, so didn't do much. Pretty low key. Baby girl, I guess she's home for the summer, so she's hanging out, and she didn't have to work that day, so that was cool. So, I gotta give her props. Even as a broke college student, you remember them days how it used to be.
Right.
She showed up. She actually went out and got me a salmon, right? Like a full salmon fillet, because I told her that was what I was gonna eat for Father's Day. I was gonna, put that on the, cook that up, because that's my meal, right? That's my celebratory meal. And so I didn't know she was gonna go get it. So she came home, I think after her one of her days, she just come home from the gym, right? And I got home from work. She was like, "Yeah, happy Father's Day. I got you salmon," right? And I was like, "Yo, when did you go to the store?" She was just like, "Nah, I got it." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So
That's what's
that
up,
that was
man.
that was pretty cool. And she shouted me out on IG. I think she posted me on the story like this like little montage of pictures and me doing other unflattering stuff. So you know,
Right. That's what's up,
I
man.
take that. That's love from the kids these days. So I'll take it.
Well, that's what's up, man. I'm glad, glad you enjoyed the day, man. That's real thoughtful. You know, that's
Yeah,
what's up.
happy Juneteenth to you also. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, my brother. Happy Juneteenth to you too, man.
Thank you,
You
sir.
know?
Thank you, sir. Gotta recognize that. I think work gave a brother a day off this past Friday, so I'll take it. I'll
Yeah,
recognize it.
man.
You
I
know,
mean, I didn't have a day off, but I hear you. Yeah.
yeah. I'll listen, man. Whatever they want to give me, I'm gonna take. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for listening, continuing to support us. So continue to spread the word, continue to like, subscribe, post your comments. We love the feedback. We love again the support that you guys have been giving us. So yeah, keep it coming and run out and tell a friend.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the support, right? It's been a while. Definitely appreciate everybody that's been hanging with us. We're gonna keep the content coming. So we appreciate everybody that listens every week. And it's a lot going on right now, but when the smoke clears, we definitely gonna try to, put out more content. But definitely appreciate everybody that hangs around, comments, likes the videos. Humbled by the support.
Yes, sir. So absolutely keep the ideas flowing. You guys have anything that you would like us to discuss or cover, put it in the comments. Let us know. All right. Also the email, the Black Psychologist Podcast at gmail.com. Shoot us a line, shoot us some comments. We'll get to it. All right. So Jay, first and foremost, it's June. So outside of Father's Day and Juneteenth, June is also LGBTQ Pride Month. All right.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be any type of month where we observe something without the companies coming in and trying to capitalize on it. Right. All right. So Jay, are you a burger person? Do you like hamburgers?
Definitely.
All right.
Well, I mean, I don't eat meat anymore, but I used to. Hamburger is one of my favorite meals.
Jay, I don't even know who you are, man. You on this healthy kick, bro. I mean, look.
Nah, I mean, listen, I'm still trying to be healthy, man. Like, so I don't eat meat, and then now I'm stopped. I gotta stop myself from eating fried fish so much. You know what I mean? That's my guilty pleasure now. But I don't eat meat, brother. What do you want me to tell you?
This guy's showing off. All right, man.
Don't invite me to your barbecue, man. I can't do
Yeah,
that.
man.
I can't
So
eat
you're gonna be that
man.
guy. If I invite you, you're gonna be that guy. Like, yo, what's up with you?
I'll be there. I'll be the guy that shows up with a pan of fried fish. Yeah,
I'll take that. All right. So I'm a meatitarian. I'm the polar opposite of where you are right now. All right. So like, listen, I am a meatitarian. I love burgers. I went to a burger bash over the weekend, man.
I
That's
saw that. Yo.
yeah. Listen, I don't play no games, bro. Listen, I'm
I
on it.
saw that. Yo,
All
one of y'all had a bowl full of burgers, man.
That was me. That's the take home.
Those was just sliders?
Yeah, they just slided from like different vendors. So it was like a burger contest. So it was like all these different vendors and restaurants. So I mean, they didn't say that we couldn't take stuff home, so I came prepared.
Oh, that was your own dish?
Yeah, that was all mine. So I took that.
Oh
home.
yeah. You greedy. Yeah, they should have put you out.
Yeah, like no, I took that home, bro.
They should have put you out.
I ate when I was there, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna get me through the weekend.
Right.
That's like that, man. Look, that's how I roll. They didn't say no, so that's how I roll. All right. Now locally, I do enjoy a good Whopper. All right, from Burger King. All right, Burger King is throughout the years has remained consistent with their Whoppers.
However, that used to be my meal. Whopper with cheese.
Yeah, there you go. All right. However, it appears that they misstepped recently. All right. So Burger King's new hamburger to celebrate Pride Month has caused quite a stir on social media and on internet. All right. So the fast foods giant, Austrian stores, okay, will be serving or started serving the Pride Whopper with the E turned into the rainbow flag. Okay, so these burgers featured the classic sandwich with two equal buns. So that either means you could get it with two top buns, right? The sesame seed buns on both top and the bottom, or you can have the two bottom buns, right?
Okay.
So now this was supposed to signal the promotion of equal love and equal rights. All right.
The top and the bottom.
The two tops and the two bottoms, right? That's what they were supposed to signal. Equal love and equal rights. All right. Yeah. So so after it didn't go over well. All right. Clearly it didn't go over well. And so they let out they issued a statement. Our strongest concern is if we offended members of the LGBTQ community with this campaign. If this is the case, we truly apologize. All right.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm just going to tell you this, Jay. At first glance, I thought this was very strange when I saw it.
Oh, right. I thought it was strange too. That's what I'm looking at right now, the picture.
Yeah.
It looks crazy.
Yeah, this looks wild, right? It was very.
I'm not laughing I'm laughing because of the absurdity of it. Like, yo.
It's wild, man. And I thought it was very, very strange when I first saw it, when I saw this promotion. And this is just an example of rainbow washing. And what I mean by that is that this is like the practice of when companies show like this surface level support for the LGBTQ community, right? With identifying people without like any specific action, right? You just kind of throw an advertisement and throw like a rainbow on there. And there's no specific action that could actually like improve their lives. So like when I saw this, I'm like, well, is Burger King planning to like donate money made from the Pride Burger to like different LGBTQ organizations or to that to the community? Like what is this? You're just throwing a rainbow up there, and there's no specific like goal or intention. Like usually, most companies like they'll show their support in June for Pride Month, like when they're celebrating their their history and the culture through like donating to the organizations, or it's like because it shows promise, or they're like, hey, we have our commitment to improving the representation within the corporate ranks, right? So that's typically how most companies will show, or as far as they'll observe Pride Month. Not these guys. Like, no, we're just gonna give them two top buns or two bottom buns. There you go. And then we're gonna rainbow wash the E.
first of all, this was just strange. I mean, it was honestly, if we being honest, like it was just, it's just cringy. You know what I mean? That's why I was asking you, because my biggest thing is like, what was the goal, right? Because number one, it's cringy for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to get into with the top buns and the bottom buns and all that.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's cringy, it's not me reaching, it's the fact that, like, and again, one of the comments, I think it made all of the sense in the world. It said, fast food doesn't have to be a political statement, right? So when I go to get Kentucky Fried Chicken, when I used to go get it, like, yo, I don't want a picture of Bernie Sanders on my chicken box. You understand?
I mean,
Like, I'm just being
wearing
honest.
a rainbow. He might have a rainbow suit on next time around.
Right. So, I mean, there has to be a line somewhere. You know what I mean? Now, you don't have to go Chick-fil-A far. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, that's a little joke. That's a little joke. But what I'm saying is, I'm just trying to figure out what the goal is, right? Because if you really want to support Juneteenth, if you really want to support LGBTQ community, if you really want to support like mental health awareness month, then donate to the causes that really like directly impact the people, or go find a way that you can really support some of those people that are in a disadvantaged place, right? There are plenty of like mental health organizations that just cater to LGBTQ youth, right? There are plenty of organizations that just cater to African-American youth, Latinx youth, whatever your passion is, wherever your area is that you want to affect. You know, and they have millions of dollars, right? So how that turns into 2 top buns and 2 bottom buns and a rainbow wrapper, right? And Burger King keeping all the money, I don't know, right? So I guess my only question is, again, like the same thing we was talking about the Juneteenth ice cream, you know, we'll kind of get back to that in another way in a minute. It's like representation, right? Because I'm sure that there was nobody in the room who identifies as LGBTQ, you know, who could say like, listen, this isn't it. You know what I mean? Like,
right, and that's where the companies mess up. Like, they don't check well enough with the community members on these different interpretations, right? When they come up with ideas, even at the very most, if you don't have someone that's representing that particular community or population in the boardroom, which a lot of them don't, it's still like, okay, well, you know what? Why don't we do a survey, right? Let's do a focus group. Hey, we're thinking about doing this. And it's just like, yeah, they'll tell you straight up, like, nah, this isn't it. Like, nah, don't even go forward. But you don't check with the community.
Right. And you're exactly right. Because listen, don't let them off the hook. I'm not saying you are, but I can't. It's just irresponsible. They're Burger King. They make billions of dollars, right? They take millions of dollars per year and put it away just for food spoiling, just for people suing them, just for stuff breaking, just for lawyers, right? Like the maintenance of things, right? The billion-dollar companies do that. That's what they do. That's part of the cost of doing business. So a couple of $100,000, right, to get a consulting company, right, that specializes, that knows these issues intricately and delicately, and can counsel you through. No, this was just very lazy. This strikes me as a bunch of people that are sitting in a room again and think that they understand a community better than the people who make it up. So I ain't gonna spend too much time on it, but again, it's just another example. Burger King support for LGBTQ is same side buns on your burger.
And here's the thing, like, as a burger enthusiast, man, like, who wants to eat 2 sesame seed buns? Nobody. Okay, nobody does. I can tell you. Listen, I've had many burgers from different places in different states. Nobody wants to have 2 sesame seed burgers. Nobody wants 2 bottom ends. It's just strange. Nobody wants to do that. All right.
It's just cringy, man. Cringy.
But not to be outdone, okay? The video game developer Halo Infinite, okay?
Yeah.
They recently came under fire because they're like, listen, man, if Burger King is messing up pride stuff, we got something too, okay? Not to be outdone. Too. Right. So they recently came under fire for rolling out a new nameplate to honor Juneteenth. That didn't go well. All right. So fans quickly became enraged with the customization that was named after an ape. All right. So the personnel at 343 Industries, who are the game developers, apparently thought it would be a good idea to title the nameplate a palette adding red, black, and green, the colorway to the player's username, bonobo, okay, which is an endangered primate. Okay. So naturally, people were angry with the association of apes and Juneteenth.
Right.
Considering the racist, discriminatory history between those words and, the African American community. All right. So Bonnie Ross, the founder and head of 343 Industries, says the nameplate was originally named Bonobo in reference to the developer tool. And they claim that it was an oversight on their end. Once they were made aware of the nameplate, they says, oh, it contained a term that was offensive and hurtful. So we immediately made the change to the nameplate. Said we're a studio and franchise that is committed to inclusivity where everyone is welcome and supported to be their true self. On behalf of 343, I apologize for making this celebrated moment a hurtful moment. There you go. What's your take on that one, Jack?
Well, listen, they got to get right down there with Burger King, right? And the reason why I say this, like, Halo done sold 70 million copies, right? Over 6 billion hours of Halo gameplay has been logged. Halo is similar to a lot of other games where you can buy stuff, you know what I mean? All this type of stuff. You can earn stuff, all of that. Generated over $5 billion in worldwide sales. So again, if they're conscious enough, right, to have Juneteenth on the calendar, right? Because they wanted to capitalize off it.
Right.
Right. So they're conscious enough to know that Juneteenth is salient to, people who come from the African diaspora, right? Because they changed it to Pan-African colors, right? But they weren't conscious enough to know that comparing us to monkeys or using a monkey avatar that day is not going to be received well, right? By their own users of the game, right? So again, you can't let them off the hook.
No, you can't.
The game made $5 billion. They have that at their disposal, right? So if it's that important, where it's that important, where you're gonna make those changes in the game or allow that to be programmed in so that people can maintain interest, right? Then you can't be lazy on the other part of it, right? It either has to be something that's deliberate, like, maybe we thought they're that stupid, so, maybe we think this is funny, or you're just that oblivious. But either way, you're responsible. So they issued an apology, and I mean, listen, I think you look at the timeline of this, they look more clueless than anything, you know what I mean? Because as soon as the backlash came, they apologized saying, we're apologizing that we made such a celebrated moment hurtful, so I don't think it's something that you should dwell on forever, but I think it's an embarrassment that they should definitely have to, wear, and you got to be more conscious, man, because again, I don't know if this is representation. I don't know, because these games get updated a lot, so I don't know, exactly how that process goes, but I mean, again, it's just kind of like, a blindness, man. You know what I mean? And just a lack of kind of awareness, of how things are experienced by people,
My question is, what is the motivation for these companies to do this? Like, what's the incentive? Like, I get, like, I mean, do you think that by actually, because we're in a certain month and we're observing this particular culture, or we're observing this particular group of people, like, why do companies feel the need that they have to, we have to do something, right? Let's celebrate Juneteenth. Let's do, why? Like, you're already making money throughout the year. You just mentioned, right, how many gaming hours. Like, are you really, if we're talking about Halo, are you really gonna make that much more money by, hey, you know what? Let's have a nameplate. Let's have part of the primary. Like, what's the difference? Like, I would really like to know. Like, do they really think that okay? Are you gonna get more African Americans playing this game when if you do this? Like, what? I'm really trying to figure out and understand what is the relationship and motivation to do this because you're making money. So one, you're getting it wrong because, like you mentioned, you don't have the representation in the boardroom. So you're already not doing your research, or you just don't care. But it's just like, why can't you just continue to go through the month of June the same way how you went through the month of May, right? You didn't make a Mother's Day nameplate or some type of figure or avatar. It's like, why even jump out and say, hey, let's capitalize on this, and then you get it wrong, and now this is what you have to do.
I mean, again, I just think this is, again, $5 billion. I think this is just about trying to engage that audience more, right? And then just capitalizing, right? It's the same thing with the ice cream, with Walmart or whatever company that was. Do I think that they thought they was gonna like bring in more African American players? I doubt it's about that. I just think it's about ringing up the register, right? Because you know how in what's that game? Fortnite, you buy skins and all that stuff,
Right.
I'm sure that they just, again, they just see a way to cash in on it, and that's the thing, right? Like, we sell culture in this country, at least certain cultures, are on the block in terms of being marketable. Other cultures, are off limits in terms of being marketed, especially in this type of way. But you see the commercialization of like Cinco de Mayo kind of the same way, right? So that's kind of the best, that's kind of like the best example I can come up with. And we just talked about, Burger King. So
I'm
same
seeing
thing.
we're seeing epic fail after epic fail after continuous epic fail of all of these companies trying to be inclusive, or trying to, like you said, monetize these, you know, these celebrations regarding culture or for or a particular group, and it just fails. And you would think that one, if you are going to do it, you would put some research into it, maybe check with the community. But every time they don't, it's just misstep after misstep, and it's just like,
Yo,
it's ridiculous. Like, it really,
yo, I
like,
mean, but bro, like, I'm gonna say it, like, we live in a capitalist country. It's okay to make money. It's okay to make money off certain holidays. It's okay to make money off certain communities, right? You just got to do it the right way. Like I told you, like, again, this is my humble opinion, but if you look at what Target did, right, and partnering with those 17, 18, 19-year-old African American and young entrepreneurs, creators of color, letting them put out their own t-shirts in Target. Who knows what the splits were? Who cares? The kids got the exposure, you know what I mean? They probably got some money out of it, right? Like, at least that's a collaboration,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
right?
they went in, they the way they went about it.
That's not slapping a Pan-African colors on an African medallion and putting it on a shirt and selling it in Target, right? So again, not saying it has to be perfect, not saying that you have to do it the way I would do it, but there's an
Wow.
honest an honest approach and then a disingenuous
Absolutely.
approach.
All right, so staying with the entertainment field. All right, so last month, music artists Young Thug and Gunna were among 28 defendants that were charged with conspiracy and street gang activity under Georgia's Racketeer Influence and Corruption Organization Act, aka the RICO Act. So, spread throughout the 88-page indictment, among the accusations of felony drug possessions were in with intent to sell, armed robbery, and murder, right? Or the details from Young Thug's Gunna's music videos and lyrics that were actually cited as evidence of their alleged guilt in association with blood affiliated gangs. Um, so pretty much what's taking place is that the defense or the prosecution is actually using the lyrics from
Mm-hmm.
Gunna and Young Thug's from their music and from their videos, right? They're actually even using the videos and saying that they're using that as evidence. So Jay, let me ask you, when did rap lyrics become a part of like a Law and Order episode? Because by these standards, the same
Mhm.
lyrics that can be quoted by people of different ages and demographics that serve as like one of the many reasons why fans flock to a concert venue, right, to see their favorite artists. If this is the case, those same lyrics that attract audiences, those same words can be built to build the whole criminal case against them, right?
Right.
And so that's the part that I'm really struggling with, and I really think is nasty. It's a nasty tactic, in that like lyrics are a part of music, right?
Right.
Music is art. It's not always necessarily a reflection of reality of the artist or their state of mind at the time, right? So yeah, I mean, as we're talking about hip hop or rap, yeah, it's undisputable that the majority of the artists are drawing from real life experiences, like especially when they're writing their lyrics. Like, but in hip hop, like in any other genre, like it's art. That's exactly what it is. And to
Right.
have like the music videos actually referenced as a part of a RICO conspiracy, and not entertainment purposes, like that's wild, man. Like I don't like, this is a nasty tactic, I think, that's been used, and this is not the first time that it's being used against hip hop music artists. But I don't like this, not one bit, man.
I I don't listen. I'm gonna tell you this. Do I think it's a dirty tactic? Yes. Right. Do I agree with it in general? No. Right. But this is what I'll say, and this may not be a comment. This may not be this may not be an opinion that people may like, right? But I think once again, it's like we hand people the rope and then we get upset when we get hung by it, right? And what I mean by this is, now we're gonna conflate a couple of things, you know. But when we talk about social media, when we talk about IG, when we talk about like rap music and all that, right? It's not like back in the day. It is, but it's kind of not, right? Meaning like this. The perceptions of people have changed, right? Like back in the day, and I don't mean, I mean, I'm gonna date myself, right? But people used to want to keep their gangster quiet, right? People, they used to say in the same music that you're talking about, I do my dirt all by my lonely, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Tretch said, right? We're in a different era. We're in an era where if I'm beefing with you, right? And I kill somebody that's close to you, I may call you on IG to taunt you, right?
Yeah.
That never goes away. It's a record. We're living in an era where real life, I can be a rapper in real life, and me and you could be beefing in real life, and I could kill that same person, and I'll put them in a song and be rapping about how I'm smoking on your homie, a pack of your homie. Am I correct or not correct?
No, you're right. They're doing a lot of
Right,
the police work for them.
right. So this is my point. My homie told me a long time ago, right? He's like, yo, law enforcement, we used to tap people's phones. We used to follow them around. He's like, now all we got to do is look at their Instagram because they telling on themselves, right? You look at them boys, and I'm just using them as an example. Fulio and Young and Ace down in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fulio got a song where, I mean, it's not me saying this, all over the internet. He naming 25 dead people in the name of the song is My Dead Ops. So when you do that, how can me and you really get up somewhere and really say, now they're using lyrics against them? It's just art. Like, yo, if you're Will Smith, yes, it's just art, right? But how can you expect a prosecutor not to use it if you're claiming you gangbanging? Then I go on your phone and you with people that I know are gangbanging, and you have a record, and you out there with them, right? And you making records talking about you smoking people in packs. What do you think is gonna happen? I'm not saying it's fair, but what I'm saying is things get conflated. So you talking about, it's not a personal attack on you, but this case, like Gunna and Young Thug are just gonna be, they're just low. I'm not saying they're low hanging fruit, but they're about to make examples of them. And what I mean is, yes, they use the lyrics in the indictment, but I don't want them to go to jail, but they probably gonna get smoked for a lot of time because they have informants, not because of the lyrics, because their own homies is telling on them. The lyrics, I get it. The lyrics in IG, it makes the indictment exciting, because people are looking at it and trying to connect it to real life. But bro, at the end of the day, they locked up 26 people. You know what I mean? And when you lock up 26 people and you throw RICO charges at them, a lot of gangsters start telling. That's just the facts. So I think a lot of things get conflated because do I think art should be art? Yes. But I think we've handed them the rope with social media. So I want to know what you think about that, because I think there's a lot of conversations going on at the same time. You know what I mean?
I see both sides of it, right? So I see the aspect where, like you said, a lot of the work that police used to have to do, they don't have to do, right? They can just go on IG. A lot of people they're not the smartest criminals, unfortunately, right? And I'm saying that as like, I mean, not to say criminals are smart. I'm not glorifying anything that they do or how they do it, but they're not very. What's the word? I'm gonna stick with smart. All right, they're not very clever in regarding keeping a low profile. All right, and absolutely, there's definitely been a shift from how things typically used to be done in the past to where they are now. I feel like, especially as we're talking about this case, they said what it was like 28 defendants, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a race to the courthouse because and I know they're not really going after the other defendants. They're going after Young Thug and they're going after Gunna because that's gonna make the name. That's who. The publicity, all these other different things. Georgia, that's the state of Georgia. That's who they're gonna make the name off, right? So absolutely, I believe that any music artist, despite where you come from, and I know a lot of people are coming from lower SES, you have to be very selective, right? I mean, you shouldn't be dipping and dabbing. You shouldn't be playing both worlds anyway. But if you are, I mean, I that's something I struggle with, and maybe that's just because we're older, is that we don't kind of come from the getting indicted IG page, like this is a straight incriminate yourself type of situation. Now, at the same time, I don't feel like they should be able to use. I think now I was gonna say to a certain extent, but no, because there's a double standard because it's a situation where you don't see it being used in other genres of music, right? You don't see it being used in rock. You don't see it being used in other different things because they do storytelling. They have lyrics where they say, "Hey, well, I may have trashed this hotel, or I did drugs I'm getting high on such and such." Like you don't see it when other individuals and other music genres when they have like their domestic charges, right? Because it pops up. You don't hear them bringing, oh well, in this country song.
Bro, are you really?
They don't, bro.
Are you really?
Listen.
When is the last? Listen, this is when culture meets art, and I gotta push back on you.
I'm not protecting them, but
when is the last time
that
ever
when different rock people or class or country and they get into trouble with domestic violence, lyrics aren't brought up for whatever.
Yo, you're losing. Let me tell you why you just lost credibility. Because name me one rock song or country song or any genre that you have ever heard where somebody who has charges for domestic violence has made a song about them and put the person's name in the song and said, "Yeah, I choked them." Yeah, like this is where culture meets art. In other genres, the culture isn't to put the person who you have problems with in real life and write about how you physically assaulted. Like, come on, man. This is something that is exclusive to hip hop culture, bro. And I will accept that, but we can't just. That's why I said the argument is being conflated because people are saying art is art, art is art, and everybody is bringing up these other genres. But what we conveniently miss is what is present in this genre that's not present in the other genres. Factors are important.
No, deaf, unfortunately, we are the only culture, we're the only music group that we celebrate deaf in that type of manner.
Bro,
No,
okay, I'll take it a step further. And you're not responsible for everything. So I'm just asking you what you're aware of. But in what other genre are you aware of people implicating themselves in crimes?
No, we're the only ones that do that a lot. Yeah.
So, bro, like, we're not police officers, but if people are implicating themselves in crimes, right, and swearing to you up and down that they're criminals, why wouldn't I follow the breadcrumbs? It would be the easiest psychological evaluation I ever wrote.
Let me ask you this though. What if?
So I'm not saying it's right, but we're giving them the rope and then complaining.
No, we're not.
Like,
we're not doing ourselves any favors. But let me ask you this: what about, a lot of artists, despite what they'll say in interviews and in front of people, they don't even write or perform their own lyrics, right? So what if it's a situation somebody else is writing, and I'll just use Young Thug or Gunna's situation.
Okay.
I don't know these gentlemen. I'm familiar with some of their music, but what if they didn't write those lyrics though, right?
Okay.
What if it was like they homie that's like, yo, this would be fire. Let me put this in there.
See, bro, I get it, but what you're doing right now is you're taking an outlier, right? Because who went to jail for RICO charges, right? Tekashi 6ix9ine, Bobby Shmurda and them. I'm not sure if it was RICO, right? Young Thug is on a RICO, right? YFN Lucci is in a RICO. Everybody I just mentioned is gang involved, and there was informants. This isn't a CB4 situation. Because, and this is why I say everybody has the same argument you have, but it has no teeth to me because I just mentioned 4 people, right? I just mentioned 4 people. Tell me the rapper that is sitting in jail, ate a RICO charge, because Tekashi 6ix9ine told, right? So tell me the rapper who fits the profile that you're talking about that got charges. There is none.
I'll get back to you on that.
Right. That's my point. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to be Mr. Law and Order, but what I'm saying is we can't have it both ways. We can't say, yo, I'm a gangbanger. Look on my IG, it's there. Look at my record, right? Check my history, right? This is who I'm with, and I'm killing my ops in the song, right? We can't have it that way. And then when they come get you and they take everything that you just said, right, up there with DJ Vlad and hang you with it, you talking about, oh, no, it's just art like Langston Hughes. No, it's not art like Langston Hughes. Like, come on, bro. Now the day Will Smith gets indicted for something that his homie wrote, then talk to me. But stop playing. Everything you talking about, and again, it might be people that disagree with me, but what my rebuttal to them would be, it's not the lyrics that's going to get these dudes 25 to 30 years. It's their own homies that's pointing at him and saying, nah, he's the leader. He was the one that put the money on his head. He was the one that gave us the guns. Read the indictment.
Like I said, it's going to be the race to the courthouse. Those going to be
if anything, they're using the lyrics to connect real life crimes. They're like, yo, Mr. Brown died, and then you said Mr. Brown died in the song. So you gonna stand up there and say and beat the drum and say that you being persecuted? I'm not. You crazy as hell. You gonna stand up there and say they Langston Hughes? Yo, they got informants, dog. Stop it. If you're gonna do dirt, do it by yourself.
So you're saying the explicit detail that they're giving?
Yo, honestly, there's a bigger issue here, and I would like to ask you this because this comes down to a psychological issue.
Right.
The bigger issue here is you have people who are millionaires, right? Who the allure of the streets is so strong, right? Young Thug and Gunna, they be on Paris on Fashion Week, right? They're involved in a whole class in a world that some of us will never experience, right? Yep. But the allure of the streets and the approval, we're not talking about helping people because you can help people from anywhere in the world, right? So the approval is so strong that they had to stay in the city, and it's alleged that they're behaving like mob bosses. So what is it about that psychological pull, right? That wanting to belong, right, that is so strong, right? Because right now, I'm sure they feel differently, right? But what is it about that wanting to belong that you cannot let go, right? Because we've seen this before. This isn't nothing new. We've seen this before. FBG Duck in Chicago just got killed, right? And a month before, he had signed $1 million deal, and he was talking about, I ain't never gonna leave. DJ Vlad was like, yeah, you sure? Everybody gets killed. He's like, nah, I ain't gonna leave. And you see what happened. So what is it about the allure that makes being a mob boss so important? Because you can help people from across the world.
I think it's a couple things. It's one is the reward factor, right? If you're coming across, because that's what's getting it right now, right? The drill, the different types of things. If you're showing that I'm affiliated, I'm rolling with this, I'm smoking on my ops, so on and so forth, they're getting rewarded with the views. They're getting rewarded with the shows. They're getting rewarded with all the likes, all the so on and so forth. So you know right there, if I'm being constantly rewarded, my behavior is going to increase.
Yeah.
The other situation is, the other factor is that there are satisfying consequences in it. So what's taking place, they're getting away with it. And you know, and I know, if someone's receiving satisfying consequences, that behavior is also is going to increase. It's going to happen more frequently. So we know in any of these type of RICO charges, this isn't something they got overnight, right? This is something they've been watching. They've been allowing them to continue to, go forward. Like you said, it's probably an informant involved. So when you have those two factors, that you're constantly being rewarded, you're getting money, you're getting all these different things because, oh yeah, he's real, he's so on and so forth. And then like, oh yeah, well, I can continue my criminal activity if that's what's taking place. I don't know these gentlemen, they haven't been, you know, found guilty of anything. But if that's what's taking place, if you're living in both worlds and you're doing so on and so forth, they're going to continue to go forward. They're not going to think logically or in their wise mind and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm up. I'm blowing up. It's time for me to separate myself and kind of go into this life, right? Move to a different environment, so on and so forth. Because again, they're allowing that outside influence to be like, oh, you fake, you're a sellout, so on and so forth. But they're continuing to go forward in this manner. So if they're not getting any type of consequences that they find will be unsatisfactory, they're going to continue to move forward. And they don't have that. Unfortunately, they don't have that long-term insight of, okay, like you said, the dude asked him, like, you sure you don't want to leave? Like, nah, I'm good. This is all such and such.
I mean, all I'm saying is, and this is not me, I'm preaching to the choir, but it's a pattern at this point, right? Young Boosie, Lil Boosie said it the best way, right? He was like, most rappers get killed in their own city, right? Nipsey Hussle, all these people are a prime example. And we're students of hip hop. So let's not get it twisted. In order to kind of make it in hip hop nowadays, like, you have to have a gang affiliation. And you have to really be about that gang affiliation. It's not the era, if you ask me, the era that you was talking about is over. There's nobody that's out there and then representing what and it's not real. If they are, then they the bag and they got real people behind them. You know what I mean? So, and my only point is that there's a cost that comes along with that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And again, we can talk as much as we want about the circumstances around it, but the people don't, it's the surface things that people love. They love the music, right? They love the culture of the gangs. They love the people crip walking. They love to watch it on videos, but up close, there's a lot of things that go on that people, because they're not close to it, they don't have to stomach it, right? And that's a different world. So when you look at it from that other world, and that's the world the prosecutors and them is looking at it like, because they see it differently. They see it as gang culture being promoted. So they're gonna latch on to that. That's all I'm saying. So I just think there's a bigger issues that we need to talk about in terms of where is the allure, when you've made it that far, not to help, but what is being alleged is that all of these people are acting. I'm not really talking about Nipsey Hussle, but we're talking about they acting like mob bosses.
That's what gets the views, man. That's what gets rewarded.
Yeah.
What did Jay say? He said, when I was talking to Instagram, last thing you wanted was your picture snap.
Well, listen, man, I ain't mad, yo.
So
You know
speaking
what
of
I'm saying?
Jay, he said the use of rap lyrics was recently taken up in the New York Senate, where legislation backed by artists like Jay-Z and Meek Mill was passed a few Wednesdays ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, limiting prosecutors from using rap lyrics as evidence. So it's up for vote in the state assembly. So the bill has been co-sponsored by some of the New York State representatives, and that they're trying to limit prosecutors from using rap lyrics in court as alleged evidence. And unless the judge determines that there is rebutable or presumption that there is a clear and convincing evidence that the lyric has factual nexus linking it to an alleged crime. So we shall see. But you
Yeah.
know, I don't know. Again, it's a lot of the lyrics are let's get indicted hotline and let's implicate ourselves. I don't understand.
Yo,
I don't get it.
yo.
I don't understand it.
Listen,
You
I
know.
don't know, man.
All right. So speaking of crime, Jay, what if I told you that you could dramatically reduce the crime rate without resorting to coercive policing, incarnation? What would you say? And
I would
furthermore,
say,
let me add
I
to
would
that.
say you, I would tell you lying.
Okay. Furthermore, what if I even added, right, that you could actually avert a serious crime, a robbery, or even a murder just by shelling out $1.50? All
Okay.
right. That sounds too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. There was a program called the Sustainable Transformation of Youth in Liberia, in which it offered men that were at high risk for violent crime 8 weeks of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is also known as CBT, which has adapted this strategy to deal with issues like violence and crime. All right. So in this program, in this initiative, the folks were meeting with a counselor in groups of around like 20, and the men would practice specific behavioral changes like managing anger, exerting and exerting self-control. They would also rehearse trying on a new identity connected to unconnected to their past behavior, like changing their clothes, haircuts, and working to integrate them into more mainstream society through like community sports or banks and other different ventures. All right, so to formally study just how effective this program was or how it could be, they decided to run a big randomized trial of with 999 of the most dangerous men in Liberia, right? And they were recruited on the street. So these 999 Liberian men were split into four groups. Some received CBT, while others got $200 in cash. Another group got received CBT plus cash, and finally there was a control group that got neither. After a month of this intervention, right, the both the therapy group and the therapy plus cash group were showing positive results. A year after the intervention, the positive effects on those who got therapy alone had faded a bit, but those who got therapy plus cash were still growing and still showing huge impacts. Crime and violence was down about 50%. 10 years later, he tracked down the original men from the study and reevaluated them. And amazingly, right, the crime and violence was still down about 50% in the therapy plus cash group. And it was estimated that there were about 338 fewer crimes per participant over the 2 years. I mean, over the 10 years. So, given that it costs $530 per participant to implement the program, that works out to be $1.50 per crime avoided. Boom.
Okay.
All right. Thoughts about that?
Um. Well, I wanted to ask you first what you thought about the program. I mean, I have some thoughts, but I want some people want
What
to hear
I
your opinion.
so what I took about of it, one, I'm happy that there's some empirical evidence supporting this initiative. Well, one, I think you have $200 that incentivizes you to participate, right?
Right.
Which a lot of people are absolutely going to participate. Um, with that, you're also learning the new skills and alternative choices, right? So they talked about how they took them, they gave them haircuts, they gave them clothes. They're also teaching them how to manage their anger, exerting self-control. So what I think the $200 is, right? And I'm not sure how it was distributed, whether it was like per session or whether it was like in one lump sum or however. It doesn't really go into that in the article. Um, but it's almost like you come for the money and then you leave with beneficial information and skills,
Right.
right? And that's what the goal is. It's like, okay, let's get them in. Like whatever incentivizes somebody to actually join the program, okay, you get the money and then you learn some things on the way. And I think that's when you're talking about, especially like with crime, right? Or any like these impoverished areas or lower SES. I think one of the big things is that people will always put out like this general statement of, oh, well, we want them to stop doing crime. We want people to stop doing drugs. We want people to stop stealing cars. We want them to stop doing all this, right? But I think what a lot of people fail to realize or take in consideration is that what are you offering these individuals, right? What's the alternative? You can't say, hey, come off the street, don't sell drugs, don't carjack, don't do all these other different things, and you're not going to provide them an alternative.
Right.
So what the $200 is, and I don't know what the cost of living is in Liberia or what that was at that particular time. But if you're giving someone $200, you're actually providing an alternative for maybe what they would have done in regards to like illegal activity. So, all right, they get the $200. Now they can actually do something with that, right? Or maybe they can get something for their family, right? It's actually providing an alternative for them with that $200. So now I don't have to go out and do the street activity, or maybe I don't have to do it as much because I have this $200. So that's kind of like it's buying time in addition to I came here for the $200, but while I'm here, in order for me to continue to get more or continue to get the payment, I have to participate in these groups and these interventions. So you got a couple of different factors that are taking place that are benefiting them, especially with the therapy plus cash group, is that you're actually helping them sustain their lifestyle or whatever responsibilities with that money, and they're getting information. So that's typically what people tend to forget when they just throw out these blanket statements of, oh, don't do drugs, come off the streets, we need to stop all this violence, we need to stop this. But like, what's the alternative you're presenting people that don't have any money, that are coming from these lower SES? um so I think that's the thing, like it's buying time and you're helping to help them reduce their activity as an alternative, while that will generate the money that they would do by obtaining the crimes.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree. Um, I, I look at it two ways though. I think this is a good idea. First, I'm gonna just say that I think it's a great idea because I think it addresses two needs that people might have. Right, it provides them with some income, which could be a need for people. I'm not saying it's the biggest amount of money, but it's something like a stipend. Right, people
Right.
can take care of basic needs, transportation, food. $200 can go a long way when it comes to those things. And then you're giving them you're giving them, fulfilling another need, right? Um, so people, like you said, people will come for the money in one hand and leave with something else, right? And I have a question for you because my mind just starts spinning after I start reading this article. Um, Again, I thought it was positive because it fulfilled those needs, but I think where this kind of format can make the biggest impact is like if we make it on a like say we took this program. All right, I don't want to jump ahead, right? They were talking about this in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about so far it's had limited effects, right? And again, I hope that kind of the numbers turned around, but I think there's some differences. Number one, they did this in Liberia. We're in the United States. There's some distinct cultural differences. Specifically, when you start talking about Chicago, Chicago has a very high murder rate, right? And now I'm just suspecting, right? But we're talking about a program that's providing people with therapy and a monetary incentive, right? But in the Liberia experiment, they kind of saw crime go down, right? But in an area like Chicago where the murder rate is so high and the history of violence goes back so long, right? Where you have people that are being killed and it's a personal thing, this type of program to me isn't going to have as big of an effect in an environment like that, You understand? Because you're dealing with people who view themselves as in a war, right? It's just my opinion about a certain segment of people. But what I do think it can make a bigger impact, like community wide, right? When you're talking about people who have been victims of community violence, not people who are just classified as criminals, right? Because a criminal element has a different mindset, if you ask me. Now, if you're just talking about people who are living in the neighborhoods with the criminals, and you can offer mom and grandma and dad, right? $200 stipend and $25 stipends for you to bring you and your kids for therapy, family therapy, CBT. We got food, we got games. Now you're providing families with a stipend, and they're getting the treatment, that they normally wouldn't get for lack of insurance, for lack of access, all of those things. So that's where I think it can make a bigger impact. Again, when they classify these people as criminals, not me. You know what I mean? And I just get a different idea in my head when you say criminal. You understand what I mean? Like I just look at it, I get a different perception. So
yeah, I think
I don't know. What do you think?
I believe they have to specify regarding criminal activity. If you're talking about Chicago, if you're talking about Philly, if you're talking about Newark, yeah,
Right.
if you got to specify what criminal activity. I don't believe a program like this is going to reduce the murder rate.
Right.
Not in this area, because like you
Right.
said, there's a lot of different factors.
Right.
Now, if you're talking about possible maybe drug distribution, I think you would have to modify the stipend, right? Because again, you can't tell somebody to come off the block if you're not gonna get. Well, what are you giving me that's gonna give me money, right?
Yo, bro, you're not. But that's why I say,
you know what I mean. Like you gotta modify. You have to have a target population, right? Or whatever criminal activity you're trying to reduce. I think like if distribution, possibly maybe drugs, other different like kind of street, other different, maybe prostitution, possibly. I don't know, right? It has to be, I think, a specific type of criminal activity that you're trying to reduce, and it has to be more than $200.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
It has to be adapted. You would have to adapt it to whatever the cost of living of, like, okay, what's gonna be enough of an amount to incentivize, okay, let's get somebody off the corner. I'm just using these as examples. We're talking about like drugs or like prostitution, and say, hey, if we use prostitution, it's like, okay, whatever you're making on average per night, we're gonna provide you with that, and you can come and get therapy and all that stuff too. Like it has to be, you know what I mean, susceptible, or has to be able to alleviate what's they're gonna be able to, in order for that program to incentivize and work. So that's what I'm thinking. Like if you want it to work in these type of metropolitan areas and city, specific crime, and it has to be comparable to what that they're making in order to get them to buy in.
No, I agree with you. That's why I started off, and I didn't mean to sound like heartless, but that's why I started off saying what I said, because they classified the people that they're targeting as criminals. And my thing is like, yo, $200, again, somebody that's hustling or making money, whatever, prostitution, drugs, $200 is not going to be enough to get somebody to put down the hustle. Now, if we're talking about giving a $200 stipend monthly to people that are already incarcerated, right, to go get therapy, I'm on board all over again. But for me, this very much seems like, not saying it could be most effective with high risk populations. So we're talking about, like, again, mom, grandmom, dad that has 8th graders, 9th graders that are, starting to show those risky behaviors, right? And it's like, okay, let's get a program in place. Let's put a little money in their pocket, bring it so that there's, so that they ain't worried about the stigma coming here on a Thursday or a Friday, and then we'll get them the therapy through the back way. You know what I mean? Like they coming for the money and we give them this.
Or if you're saying, like you said, if say, just for example, if you're talking about the prison population, if you have individuals that are being released, right? And I feel like something like this could cut down or maybe reduce recidivism, because it's like, okay, like you're giving the money, you get money, therapy also, right? So I feel like that, if like you're giving the folks that are trying to get back on their feet and you're using that, also say, hey, to help you adjust or get adjusted to this, we're also offering treatment, and we're also offering money as as
Yeah.
motivation. So I think for that, like I said, it has to be very specific. And you also, again, $200. I don't even know if you can do that per month, because what is that going to? You see what I mean? Like it has to be adjusted to the cost of living and what you're going to offer somebody. I mean, yeah, there are going to be plenty of people that will sign up for $200 a month, but it's like if you really want, you're going to have to adjust that to what possibly could, really get somebody in there.
I agree with you though, but think about. I agree with you totally, and the reason why I say that is, think about this concept. Like if me and you had a nonprofit and we had a grant, right, that was willing to pay us to do the therapy, pay the person the $200. Let's say it's $250 a month.
Right.
You got to go to, but these are the stipulations, right? You got to make every session unless you're sick.
Yeah.
Right. So that breaks down to every session that you go to, you're getting, every 2 sessions, you're getting $125, right? But part of the stipulation, obviously, is going to be, think about it, somebody who's been released, right? There are things that we know could help somebody survive, right? Life skills classes, right? A GED classes if they don't have them, a job, employment, right? Mental health services, right? But it's hard a lot of times to keep people connected to those services, because it's like, once I start working, I don't have time to do all that shit anymore, right? So this is kind of, okay, I'm working at this job, it's not paying me as much, you know what I mean? But that 250 or whatever could help the ends meet a little bit more.
No,
you know
good.
what I
You're right.
mean?
And listen, people will come out. Listen, man. People will come out for $50 to $100 for donating plasma. You
And
see
you
what I mean?
give people
So people will
options, like, yo,
right.
You can get your money after, you can delay, get your money after 60 days, you can get your money after 120 days. So you can wait and get $1,000 in 4 months, you can get $500. Then it starts looking to people like, okay, and I just got to go to therapy.
Yeah, I just got to go to these skills class. I just got to do this.
So,
all right, bet.
So it could work, like we're talking about, again, I believe we're talking about like, what was it, that PREMAC principle, I think?
Yeah,
now they're talking about
you're reinforcing a high probability with a lower probability behavior with a higher probability behavior.
Yeah,
right?
That's the highest probability behavior ever, is going to get your money, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody show up on payday, right? So you show up on payday and you stay, for your session.
No, this is a good initiative, and I'm happy. Like, again, they got the empirical information behind it that would support it. Just has to be readjusted and adapted to fit. Right.
We shouldn't have put that idea out. We shouldn't have put that idea out on the show, man. We're gonna do that.
Trademark. Don't do it. We'll come and find you.
We're gonna work on that grant later.
Listen, hey, man. All right, Jay. Anything before we get out of here? We talked about a lot, especially with the month for June going on. What's anything else?
Yeah. Just again, I just want to thank everybody who takes the time, to watch us, have a healthy debate. Again, always appreciate my man, for being the captain of the ship on the show, navigating us beautifully every week. So I want to thank you for that, my brother. I want to thank everybody who takes the time to listen. I'm always humbled that people take the time to listen every week. So the one thing we'll always do is try to be prepared with good content, provide you a little bit of mental health and popular culture and news all in one. So
absolutely. Again. And don't forget to shop mentalhealthclothing.com. All right. They got that good fit over there. And you prioritizing your mental health. Don't forget.
That's right. Prioritize your mental health always.
Absolutely. All right, Jay. Till next time, wishing you and everybody else good mental health.
All right, bro. Later.
All right, man.